Alright, today we're going to talk about the problem with college and lack of respect. So, the biggest thing apart from the structural things of college and apart from the modern kind of perception of college and what it's worth and all this stuff, a very real problem for college and college students nowadays is alright, you go to college for a reason, and it's to get a degree, it's to get an education, which is very important. Um, the importance of college by itself is debatable, but the people who do go, there's a problem, and the biggest problem that I see in my school. Again, I go to NYU, New York University, and the biggest problem I've seen doesn't come from teachers. Other that teachers are professionals in what they do and how the majority are respectful. They are facilitators of knowledge. And what I see the problem is are the students. The students are, are the problem of college nowadays. And let me tell you why. You can say that this is a modern take of young adults. You can say that it's a modern take of college students, but they're very, they think that their opinion rules overall. And when you go to college with a certain degree of, I guess, there's a certain degree to it in a level of entitlement to it because I go to college, and especially when you go to a school like NYU, there's a certain degree of entitlement to like, I go to this school, I deserve this, blah blah blah. Like I'm smart because I do my studies and I do all this shit. Um, but the problem is that like that is a problem by itself, but when that infiltrates the classroom, which before it infiltrated society, where college students would feel kind of entitled, they walk around like this, da 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 da. But when it enters a classroom, there's no place for that. There's no place for that at all. And from what I've seen from my classes is that there's a reluctance to learn from students. And this stains college by itself. Because if you do not have teachers teaching and students learning and understand the dynamic of teacher to student, that's it. It becomes very. It becomes it becomes dangerous in a way. And let me tell you why. Because there exists a certain type of authority when one knows, when one believes that they know, when one believes that another one's opinion is not inferior but debatable. And right, everyone's opinion is debatable. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm saying that when people feel like they can speak out on it while the teacher is teaching and not take their concerns later on in class, that's where I see a problem. For example, in one of my classes today, and I see this a lot, and especially with women, and college is entirely women now. I barely have any guys in my class, men in my class, um, and you can say, and I guess that's because maybe I'm not in a field that's for men. I guess like I'm in sociology, and the class that I'm talking about is a core class. So it's a class that everyone is forced to take, or requ- required to take for completing graduation. So I believe that this is a good like testament to to what my point is. Because in this class, some students, you have some students that don't pay attention at all. They're on their phones, they're on their computers doing fuck all. And there's others that participate in class, but only participate to their own desire. And there's other people that participate within the realm of the class. For example, asking for people that are participating in the class while paying attention in class and participating meaningfully and in the field of the class. You ask questions about what you're talking about. And this class is called Text and Ideas Materialism. You talk about, you talk about a lot of things like materialism. So what it means to how you see the material around you. And this can include natural materialism, so how we see agriculture, how we see nature around us. This could include writing, literature, materialism, how we go about the process of writing, as in when you write something, is it structural? Is it structurally materialistic, as in the way you write things are meaningful? Bodily materialism, so where your what we believe our body is and how we materialize our body, as in when we it's very abstract and but it's like what's an example of bodily materialism, or like corporeal. It's like let me give you an example of that I know. Atomic materialism. This is like Lucretius. This is Alpers says it a little bit, but this pretty much just talks about, or Margaret Cavendish. She talks like this a little bit as well. It's just, and like Van Leeuwenhoek and these people that are concerned with very atomic styles of philosophy and science and takes. So it's like Lucretius says, back in like 500 BC, he says that like everything is made off these building blocks of atoms, these little particles that create us, and he goes into depth of like what kind of particles that create us, and if they're different, if they're not, and how everything is made up of these things, and da 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 da. Corporeal materialism is an example of like, are we dualists or monists, meaning that dualist being that mind or body are separated, or that our body is in connection with our mind. So whatever. I'm setting the foundation of the class so I can explain the story better. And today we are talking about Diderot, this philosopher, French philosopher that did a lot of art, which he did whatever. But also another guy named, give me 1 second, I'll pull it up. His name was Spinoza. And what these guys are saying is like, they're making takes on religion, saying that like the Diderot guy is talking about how the Bible and art come together, and how back in the day, I forget which time period, but they used like prostitutes, or like artists would recreate biblical paintings and biblical moments through, and like the faces would be like prostitutes and stuff, which is funny. It's not funny. It's in my opinion it's disrespectful to religion, but I mean it's what actually took place, and this guy is just like critiquing it. And then Spinoza talks about the role of religion in law and the role of religion in general, and saying that like religion is authority, while philosophy should be truth. Saying that pretty much, he's not critiquing religion. He's not saying anything about that. But what he's saying is that religion should be religion, and philosophy should be philosophy. There should be a clear distinction, and they shouldn't be intertwined with each other. And when religion tries to take the place of philosophy, it's wrong because religion is a way of is like authority. Like people use it in wrong ways, and you shouldn't take a text as moral truth. And I agree with that in some part, but that's besides the point. I can make a whole other video about this topic. And with an example of people who participate in a meaningful manner would ask, per se, like, why is saying something like their religion, like why was he persecuted for these thoughts if they weren't against religion? Why was he persecuted for saying that philosophy and religion should be separated? There's an answer to it, and it's obviously that religious authority was navigating through government, all this stuff. So religious authority could say, no, you're saying bad things about religion. It can impact us negatively. Let me put you in prison. Come, I mean, it's life. Like, the fuck are you gonna do about it? And it's back in the day. So what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Like, you can't complain. Like, you know what I mean? And that's a meaningful contribution. This girl asked for a definition. This other girl talked about kind of why art was such an important aspect of that, because art is art. And so he kind of, our teacher who I really like, Little Shaw, he kind of just told her like the definitions and like this another question about art and why its role in there, and it's that art and history and art and public discourse is very important because art was a central theme of what these texts are, kind of like the body of structure that these texts are being surrounded around. The people who talk about it, authority, are very interested in art and philosophy and all that stuff. And then there's another girl who did not partake in this conversation at just not even close. And she goes, there's like a painting. There's a painting this guy does, Diderot, of like an encyclopedia. Just like trying to like put definitions and kind of just like trying to make sense of the world, putting categories in the world, which it makes sense. Like, we are humans, are categorical. Like, we like to frame things in a specific frame of reference, and it makes sense. Like, whatever. And this girl goes like, isn't it a problem that, I forget her exact words, but like the whole theory is that like there's a problem that the only people that the guy portrays are all white males. And why doesn't it have diversity, and why asking these questions about diversity and about inclusion, which make no fucking sense in the time period that they were talking about. And the guy, and the teacher hears his question, and he answers it trying to be respectful, which is a problem that I'll talk about. Tries to be respectful because this is a very dominating idea. This is very of like liberal thought and liberal everything, and her whole argument is that like it's very Eurocentrist and it's very white centrist, and the guy's like, yeah, you're right, and but this isn't a take on diversity. This is just what it is. The guy did this in a time period because he did it in the time period. This was a public discourse. It wasn't inclusive. It wasn't this and that. And this other girl chimes in, completely negating what the teacher said to him, or said to her, or to the whole class. Be like, yeah, but it's a problem. Starts saying all this stuff, makes a point, which I did not agree with, and I thought it was stupid. Makes a point, and then instead of trying to understand what the teacher says, She just goes back to her computer, completely just like boom, boom, while the teacher's talking to her. And another girl starts chiming in and says like the same bullshit. Or she starts talking about like women. Like, why were women portrayed? And the guy was like, the teacher was like, it's public discourse. What do you expect? Like, what do you expect out of it? Like, it's a public discourse. Like, you can't expect someone to do this. And why I say that this is unmeaningful to anything directive of the class is because if we're looking at a artist, if we're looking at a philosopher from France, from Holland, in the 17th century, the late 17th century, like 1680s, why the fuck would they include black people? Why the fuck would they include like in like fucking Native Americans? Why the fuck would they include like anyone like the indigenous from South America and all these different styles of people? Why would they include women? Why? It doesn't fucking make sense. In this time period, men had all the power. Men dominated everything. Why would he do it? That it just it isn't even the point at all. It isn't even the point. The point is what this means to the class, to materialism. Saying that it's materialistic because he's trying to define types and archetypes of people. He's trying to define different crafts, different everything of society. And that is materialistic because it is a way that humans interpreted their surroundings and interpreted their structures. What the fuck does equality and diversity have to do with any of that bullshit? What I think that college is going wrong is because the teacher shows sympathy to her concerns. Instead of being like that has nothing to do with the class. This is a purely if you can't equate modern perceptions to antiqual life. You cannot, because of course everything is gonna be wrong. And modern standards in America, like you fucking it's like it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And the problem I find is that the teacher isn't stern about this. He somewhat agrees. Yeah, I agree with you. It should be more inclusive, and it does partake in your argument that it's not inclusive of this and that, but it makes his point. But where I'm trying to go with this is that the students don't care of what he says and the solution that he tries to provide. They have no respect for the authority of the teacher and for the authority of his ideas and his class. It's his fucking class. He has earned the right to teach you, who you don't know anything, and you're 19, 18, 20-year-old student that doesn't know fucking shit. You don't. In this specter of the class, why do you think that you know more than a teacher who's 50, 40 years old, who's been studying this his whole entire life? His profession is studying these ideas, studying these aspects of art and history and theory and philosophies. He's probably read these texts like 50 times. Which takes me to this point because teachers, from what I hear from my peers, is that teachers do push back on their ideas, but they don't push them back enough to make them like, to be like, this class is not for those ideas and that ideology and those takes. Take it as it is. But instead, they have their mind wrapped on so many different things, and I guess it's their problem. Why should I be concerned with what these people think? Because they're not getting anything out of this class. But if you take college for what it's meant to be, and it's supposed to be the future, it's supposed to be educating the future and making young adults ready for academic and professional career. And when these academic and professional careers are starting being tainted by these young people who are so who are so ideological and so wrapped in their own mind they can't fucking see outside of it and they can't take things objectively, how what can you expect from the future of America, of our colleges, and of our kids? Obviously, that hasn't wrapped they haven't wrapped their mind about that. Obviously, they haven't. But it's a central problem because college is meant to be conducted in this way. There's authority. There's authority of the teacher. You are supposed to be inferior to the teacher. Like, I'm not saying anything fucking crazy. I'm not. When someone knows more than you shut up and listen. Like, sure, you can ask questions and you can express your questions on the material. When you start expressing your ideas and expressing your feelings, the classroom has no fucking sympathy for your feelings. So my question is, why do these teachers have sympathy for these feelings? it, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me at the least. At the least. Which takes me to, so yeah, that's a problem. The problem is that college students in the future of our professional and our academic careers are being tainted by these idealized kids that aren't getting the right message. They aren't getting the right, hey, like, shut up, like stern talking to. They used to hit you in class. Now it's like, you have a point, but no. You can say someone's wrong. Hey, that isn't the discourse for this class. That isn't the discourse for this class. If you want to take that to a gender studies class, take that to another bullshit ass class. Don't take that in my class. And what these students are doing is a lack of respect. And it's a lack of respect that I've seen with a lot of young people. My age, people that are younger than me, that are my age, have a lack of respect. They lack an understanding of authority and they lack an understanding of inferiority. As a young person, you will be inferior. You should be inferior. And it's up until the moment where a person that has authority over you recognizes your intelligence, or they can be sympathetic to you. But you earn it. You earn that sympathy. You earn that ability to speak on their level. And it's not even about, okay, I'm gonna get like like, okay, I said something very interesting, like I know a lot about this class and I know a lot about this, so the teacher respects my ideas, the teacher respects that I learn all this stuff, but I'm still not above him. That's gonna take years for me to be above him. Years. Because he has earned that position where he's at. He has earned the respect that he has. Unless that teacher is just complete nuisance and a complete fucking retard that he doesn't even know what the fuck he's saying, that is different. But most of these people know what they're saying. They got hired for a reason. And it shows the lack of respect of young people because nowadays young people don't respect authority. They think that they know everything. They think that they know everything and they think that authority is wrong. They think that being inferior is a thing, it's problematic. They think that it is a ideological battle that they need to partake in. When it's not true. It makes no sense. And you can see it beyond the classroom, beyond college and all this stuff. You can see it that you can see it in men. You can see it in men. You don't see anyone holding doors open now. If you see an older person walking around and this and that, you don't see a lot of. I mean, if you see an elderly woman struggling with the door, I've seen people just walk by her and just can proceed their day because they have their headphones on. They live in their own world, in their own perceptions. Um, People have no respect for other people's ideas. If you say one word that's contrary to theirs, they deem you as this, they deem you as that, and they claim to be accepting, they claim to be open, but they hate the idea of being wrong. They hate the idea of being inferior. They hate these all these notions that create this disdain for that create this uncomfortable feeling of being wrong and being put in your place. They don't like the feeling. They don't. They don't like the feeling, and they have a huge problem with it. And they don't recognize that people exist in stratospheres. And I'm not talking about class. I'm not talking about sex. I'm not talking about any of this shit. I'm talking about learning that age has a lot to do with your mind, and it has a lot to do with people that respect you. You might be a young genius, but if you don't earn the respect of older people, you will never be recognized as anything. Because when you live longer on earth, you gain more wisdom. Not knowledge, you gain wisdom. Because anyone can get knowledge on something. But wisdom is being able to actually completely understand something that you say. And no one can ever completely say something, they have a better understanding of it. A better understanding. And I believe that this lack of respect can be attributed to COVID. Um, because all the time that young adults and kids spent with their own family, without any structure, without any levels, without understanding, without seeing it's gone into their head. I believe that it's also social media that empowers these ideas and that grants absolute authority over these ideas. Not only that, I believe that social media stains the minds of younger people because they believe that their opinion matters now because they have people that follow them, people that understand them, people that agree with them. Not only that, but this whole culture of understanding the past for what it was, for all the racist shit that happened and all the patriarchal. That's bullshit. I hate the idea of that, but I mean the whole like patriarchal thing and how society was set up in the past and still is in multiple different countries, but they're so idealized that they think everything is right, so everything should be as they think it is. Um, so what I think is that it's sad. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad, and I think that all this comes from those ideas because when you're revealing all these things, there's a right or wrong, and when there's a right and wrong of the past, you start to. I mean, it's a right or wrong of the past, and it's a right or wrong of things shouldn't be that way. Things shouldn't have been that way. So we need to make it better. And that making it better puts down the people who were in that era, who had no control of what was going on. And little to that, I mean, people are stuck in their frames of reference. All these ideas were not there in the past. They were not there. The idea of racism and all this shit, where they weren't there because every single country was homogenous anyways. Every single country didn't have any immigrants coming. They didn't have this network of being able to travel and being able to move to different places and all this stuff. They don't. So why the fuck are you equating your ideas into this in everyday life, it's it's concerning because I think that respect is the most important part of someone's of someone in general of someone. I believe that if you don't have respect for other people, first, how can you respect yourself? And second, how can you even have a relationship with someone? Because the only person you end up respecting is yourself. The only idea that you respect is the ones that are most keen to what you agree with and what your mind perceives it to be true or not. I went on a date and this girl like proudly, proudly told me, "Yeah, there's a right or wrong, and what I say is right." Proudly. And I looked at her. I was like, I was like, "Yeah, but your right is someone else's wrong, and your wrong is someone else's right." And she just looked at me like that. It's like, you have nothing to say. Like you have nothing to say. Women have no respect anymore for guys. That's another thing. Young women have no respect for men. They think that we're all trash. They think that we're all disgusting. They think that we're all misogynist. They think that we're all part of the problem. To a point where women just ignore guys outright. Not only that, but they've made guys think that they are the problem, and now guys think that they're the problem. In one of my classes, and a couple of my classes in the past, these jokes of guys being this, being that, is laughed at. Um, Guys are laughed at. Guys are ridiculed, and it's a joke. Everyone laughed. Even the guys laughed. Even the I'm not even calling men. Even the guys laughed. They're not fucking men. They laugh. Ha 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 ha. Har 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 har. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't fucking make sense. It doesn't. It doesn't make sense at all. And I believe that it starts with the adults to educate the younger people and put them in their fucking place. But now adults are so sympathetic to younger people that they lost it. They lost it. And they themselves are fucking stupid. 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds are still kind of in their own, uh, still hold this. But I've seen from a lot of like younger, like 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds that they completely just gave up to it. And they sympathize with younger people. And they try to put younger people at their own level. And if you don't, where's the, if you don't make levels to it, there's no respect. There's none. I am better than you. I know more than you. Shut the fuck up. That's all. That's all I want to say. Because at the end of the day, there exists a problem, and I believe that it's a big, big problem that's happening in America. And I believe that's going to affect the outcome of our future generations. And it's concerning because what these people don't understand that we live in constant combat with other people, with other nations. We live in constant combat with time. And if we let up a little bit, what? You want to be communist? You want to have a communist America? What? You want to have a tyrannical America? Let's see. Let's see how communism goes here. Let's see how communism goes here. Literally. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see, man. Same thing's gonna happen. What happened in Venezuela? Things gonna happen in China. Same thing's gonna happen. What happened in the USSR? What? You want things to be ideologically just tyrannical? Okay, let's see what happened in the Renaissance. Let's see what, or before in like the Dark Ages. Let's see what happens in. Let's see what happened in in all these places where tyrannies go. It's just that these people make no sense, and they're at the end of the day they're troubled, and they're confused, and they, what's the word? They I forget the word, but they portray their inner feelings out to the world. They're stressed about so many things that are made way more stressful than what they actually are. They're stressed about all these things that are happening in the present moment that, since they're allowed to remain in this stress, they create their whole entire reality becomes stress. And stress is transferable. I believe that stress and all these things are very transferable. And we start fucking confusing people and as well, what the fuck are you gonna do? Like, there's so many. Yo, yeah, yeah. That's all I want to say. College is doomed because of the lack of hierarchy that now is gone from teachers to students, and students have no respect. Not only that, in a general sense in America, young people have no respect anymore. They've lost it.